the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. Number 1 is philosophy. Number 2 is attitude. Number 3 is activity. Number 4, results. Number 5, lifestyle. The 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. If we all need some help, here's probably where it's going to fall, in one of these 5 pieces. One's philosophy. Philosophy is simply what you know. Now, to correct a couple of old cliches, what you don't know will hurt you. Boy, it's so important to have the correct philosophy. It's so important to know. Philosophy sets the course of your life. It is the major piece in the 5 major pieces of the life puzzle. This is called major. Now, some things are minor. Some things don't affect your life that much. But here are 5 areas that affect our life immensely. Philosophy is simply what you know. So it's important to know. Right? The information you don't get will make a difference in the legacy of your equities over the next few months, the next few years. So philosophy, this is where it all begins. But now, how do you become wealthy and powerful and sophisticated, influential, and unique? Simple word, refined philosophy. The refinement of philosophy. The extra study. And the extra book. And the extra classes. And the extra thinking. The extra pondering. The extra give and take of testing ideas and debate and discussion. That's where the extra life comes from, is in the dimensions of refined philosophy, the extra thinking. And these are the steps of intellectual discovery that a lot of people just don't want to take, or they're too busy to take it, or it presents itself in too strong and tough a manner, these extra skills. But I'm telling you, once you start engaging in these extra skills, you won't ever want to go back. This new intellectual discovery is where the wealth is. It's where the happiness is, the good life, influence, power. Refinement of philosophy. Now, our philosophy comes from a lot of places. From teaching, the influence of others, from the books we read, from the classes we take. And you might underline the word influence. This is where a big share of our philosophy comes from. Influence. In another series, we asked 3 major questions. Who am I around? That's called big questions. Some questions are little and some are big. This is a big one. Who am I around? Question number 2. What are they doing to me? This is called major. This is called big. Where have they got me going? What have they got me reading? What have they got me thinking? What have they got me saying? And the big biggie, what have they got me becoming? Influence plays a major role in the development of our philosophy. How we think, how we speak, the formulation of ideas, the things we weigh concerning values. All of this is so important. What we know, the mind, thinking, processing ideas and information. Ideas are simply information taking form. But this whole process of mind and thinking and knowing and processing ideas and information, this is so important because it determines the major piece of the 5 pieces of the life puzzle, philosophy. Number 2, attitude. Attitude's how you feel. First of all, we're affected by what we know. Second, we're affected by how we feel about what we know. The emotional part now. This is a major part of the 5 pieces. How I feel. Now, there's a lot of different ways to feel. Everybody has to choose for themselves. Everybody has to decide by education. Now, if you didn't know what the consequences were going to be, it could be very easy to choose the wrong attitude. And not discipline yourself to the right attitude. So a big portion of our life is affected by how we feel. Let me give you just a quick list about the feelings that affect our lives. Number 1, it's how you feel about the past. Boy, it's easy to carry the past as a burden instead of as a school. It's easy to let the past overwhelm you instead of let the past instruct you. How to feel about the past hurts and the past losses and the past difficulties and the times you failed and the times it didn't work, the accumulation of all of that. How you feel about that is going to greatly affect your future in your life. One of the major things that affects your life is how you feel about the future. Our life is affected by two major things. One is price and the other is promise. And it's not that easy to pay the price if you can't see the promise. All of us wouldn't mind paying the price if we could have a clear view of tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. If we had the high assurance with great probability of how it's going to work out, do you think we would hesitate to pay? The answer is no. But everybody hesitates to pay if the future isn't clear. But we can pay if we can see. What would we do for an extraordinary promise? Answer, the most unbelievable things. Would you crack the books? Would you burn the midnight oil? Would you engage in the extra thoughts and the extra disciplines if the promise was adequate? And the answer is, of course. But who wants to read? Who wants to burn the midnight oil? Who wants to put themselves through the paces if the promise isn't clear? Important. Price and promise. Here's number 3. It's how you feel about each other. It's so important. Attitude about society, country, state, and city. Community, family, enterprise, office, company, corporation, division. It's so important to have a unique understanding about other human beings and what makes a good life, what constitutes a good life. You can't succeed by yourself. So to have a unique, refined sense of appreciation for each other is prerequisite. It takes each other to build a society. It takes all of us to build a country, to build a nation. It takes all of us to build a community. It takes all of us to make any one of us successful. And a unique, refined appreciation of the all of us is what makes the I of us do much better. How you feel about yourself, that's major. Understanding self-worth is the beginning of progress. How valuable are you? What could you do if you had all the skills? If you took the extra classes and burned the midnight oil, what could you do? What true value could you become? That is one of the better exercises. What could I become in terms of value? What could I really do in the marketplace, in enterprise, family, home, love, experience, marriage, friendship? How valuable could I become? Am I valuable enough to work on what all is still not functioning in my life to full capacity? Once you start understanding this part of you, understanding how valuable you are, it is a whole new experience, understanding self-worth. Number 1 is philosophy. Number 2 is attitude. Number 3 is activity. Activity is what you do. So our lives, first of all, are affected by what we know. Second, our lives are affected by how we feel. Third, our lives are affected by what we do. It is so important to understand this. If you want to influence and help people, here's the key. Success is a doing. You've got to actually do it. Activity is high priority in the life process to try to get maximum benefit out of what we have available. If you're doing something, how hard should you go at it? How much time should you put in? Everybody has to develop their philosophy about activity. But we've all got to have a philosophy about activity, because your philosophy of activity will affect the rest of your life. Now, the reason for life is enterprise. The reason for life is productivity. The reason for life is to see what we can do with the seasons and the chances and our mind and our spirit, ourselves, to see what we can do. That's what life is all about, to see what you can do. Life doesn't stand still. And the threat of life will start overwhelming the values of life if you just let it go. So we've all got to have a philosophy about activity. The only way to feel maximum good about yourself is to extend yourself to the full capacity of your reach, your intellectual reach and your physical reach, and your potential and your possibility to do the best you can. What should you do? All you can. How many books should you read? As many as you can. How many skills should you learn? As many skills as you can. How many people should you touch? As many as you can. Why not go to the max? I've got a good question for you. How tall will a tree grow? As tall as it can. Trees go to the max. Now, why would human beings settle for less than the max of their capacity? Simple answer. They have the power of choice to do so. It gives us the dignity of being human beings called the power of choice. So we've got a couple of choices. Let me give them to you. Here they are. To be all, or to be part. Now, this is a philosophical discussion. You can choose to be less than you were designed to be, or you can choose to be all you were designed to be. Being less than you can be, doing less than you could do, trying less than you could try, doing it with less enthusiasm than you could. I think it somehow damages the mind. It damages our self-image. Because here's what I've discovered happens. The minute you turn this around and start extending yourself, it isn't the value you get from extending yourself that's the greatest value. It's how you feel about yourself that's the greatest value. Because, see, it's not what we get that makes us valuable. It's what we become. And part of becoming is to see what all you can become. See what all you can do. See how much you can earn, how much you can share, how much you can start, how far you can reach, how far you can extend your influence. Number 4, I'm sure you're ahead of me, results. Results is the name of the game. The quest of life is to see, 1, what we can become, 2, what we can accomplish. The key to life is to become skillful enough to do rewarding things with our life. Influence, productivity, activity, results, economic, social, personal, spiritual. Philosophy is to determine value. And once you understand that you have value, the key is to see what you can do with it. And that's what life is all about. See what you can do with your mind. See what you can do with your skills. See what you can do with your hands. See what you can do with your thinking, your possibilities, your capabilities. The key is to see what you can do with it all. Because results is the name of the game. Here's all life expects us to do. Make measurable progress in reasonable time. We can't ask every 5 minutes, how are you doing now? That's unreasonable. And we can't wait 5 years, that'd be too late. So that's what we call reasonable time to ask, how are you doing now? What progress have you made now in this long list of human values and experiences? But in higher learning, we say it's very important to understand the numbers. Key life question, should we be expected to double our values in reasonable time? Answer, of course. Shouldn't we be expected to make progress? We must show that the insidious is insidious. We must show how empty life can be without measurable progress. We must get right on the problems and the challenges, lest we yield too easy to the things that can leave our lives empty instead of full, and leave us with pennies instead of fortune. Activity is like birth pains. It wasn't meant to be easy. Values were meant to be costly. The only way we can appreciate a value is by its cost. If it doesn't cost much, we probably wouldn't call it valuable. True winning is a great worth. But the price is to play with all your heart and mind, and perhaps do some losing sometimes, so that when you do win, boy, the worth and the value of the winning now becomes a high appreciation. simply because now we understand both sides of this equation, price and promise. All right, here's number 5, and lifestyle. Lifestyle is simply how you choose to live, how you design your life. It's key to understand. Some people have learned to earn well, but they haven't learned to live well. The man studied economics, but he didn't study lifestyle. Or he's got the money now, but he doesn't have the joy. Here's what lifestyle is: figuring ways to live uniquely. And it's a study, it's a practice, it's an art. It's as much of a skill as economics, learning to live well, finding ways to bring joy, pleasure, excitement, appreciation, and awareness of how unique life can be. It's a study, it's a practice. It doesn't come by accident. Happiness is not an accident, it's an art. Lifestyle is not an amount. Culture is not an amount. Sophistication is not an account. Sophistication is a practice, it's an art.